Hello everyone and welcome back to another Heartwell dev stream, the live stream series where I continue to develop this adorable Souls-like action RPG with platforming mechanics and branching narrative. If you find these dev streams interesting or helpful, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and boop that bell button to stay notified. Now, when we previously left off, we were working on sound effect stuff for various surfaces, like walking across surfaces, and the good news is that's actually all completed for the demo. In fact, I conducted my first full playthrough test of the demo about a week or two ago, and I came across it. And all in all, while the demo was primarily functional, there were a bunch of bugs I found and some minor things I want to fix. So we're probably, I'd say, a couple weeks at this point away from having the demo to be fully playable. Now, with that being said, because everything that's left for the demo is stuff I'll be doing off stream, that might make you wonder, what are we doing on tonight's stream? And on that note, I can see, hello Copper Nicholson, thanks for dropping by, how's it going? I see you're excited too. The good news is that for tonight's dev stream, we're actually going to be working on stuff that's going to occur after the demo's available. So you're actually going to be the very first people to see some of the weapons that will be available in the full game that won't be available in the demo. We're actually going to be drawing some attack animations for them today because I put a poll up on the Discord server asking what you guys wanted to see during a dev stream, even now that we're moving towards work that'll be for after the demo. And the option that got the most votes was to work on some attack animations. So we're actually going to exit out of Fusion 2.5 here and switch over to graphic scale to start working on some attack animations. So let's put on some music and have ourselves a nice, fun, laid-back dev stream. So, I'm sure by this point you're all very familiar with the weapons that are in the demo. We have the fists, we have the rocks, we have the axe, and we have the tomahawks. But now, we're going to start trying some more animations for these things over here. So these are some of the weapons that'll be in the full game. And while these are basically model mock-ups at this point, we actually need to draw Dorothy using these weapons in order for them to actually be implementable. So that's what I think we'll start working on. I think what we'll do is we'll start with some of the simpler weapons. So, for example, the sword, the bow, the staff, the spear, the scythe, and the crossbow, since I think that'll give us a good foundation for a lot of the other weapons that'll be weapon animations that we'll be using. So to start, we're first going to be moving, essentially taking a view of Dorothy facing downward. We'll do that by just having something using the fist attacks as a go-by, as well as the axe attack, since I think... Yeah, okay, so I think the axe attack will actually be better. So Dorothy kind of starts with one of the benefits of having animations to go as go-bys is that you're able to use at least parts of bits and pieces of them as a starting point. So I'm going to first make a copy of the axe swinging animation. Bring that over here to the left so we have a new area to work on things. And then we'll pick a weapon to start working with and go from there. All in all, in terms of how things are going with the others, with the rest of the Heartwell demo, I think things are going quite well. I'm sorry to hear that, Copper Nicholson. But, you know, if you're on stream, I hope you're able to relax a bit and enjoy some, you know, just a nice relaxing time working towards making video games and stuff. I've seen you've been posting quite a bit about working out a lot. Are your long distance running times improving? Let's see here. Let's grab those arms. I actually want to zoom out a bit so we can speed this process along a little bit. Whoops. There we go. Noticing, did I accidentally grab something else? No, I believe these are correct. Oh, I see, because when you're facing backward, there isn't really a whole lot of... Yeah, okay, I see. Apology chat while I resize the window. Let's take a look. I think the snowmobile arm is kind of in the background area, so perhaps... Yeah. Let's see if we can get anything from here. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay. So right now I'm just copying over the animations that we used for the axis tapping animations, and then we'll go from there. Alright. Well, friendly reminder, Copper Nicholson, that there are rules against spamming the chat, and you have been posting quite a bunch of emotes with seemingly no points to post them around. So what do we got here? Okay. Last but not least, let's perhaps we'll get Dorothy's hair over here, so we have a complete character model, minus, of course, Dorothy actually holding the axe. Now we'll actually start moving more towards the actual animations themselves. So, when I was animating some of the weapons for the demo, what I like to do is kind of bring the model over closer. In this case, we'll start with a sword, since I think that'll probably be the closest one to how the axe works. Oh, are you showcasing some of the emotes you found, Copper Nicholson? So that's with the axe. It always starts with, like, Dorothy holding the weapon for a second, and bringing it up over her shoulder before swinging. So I'll start with a nice, simple... Move this over somewhere around here. Something like that. Yeah, so the way the axe was held, it was like kind of by the side of Dorothy's head, kind of like that. We'll try that for now and start deleting some of the pixels around where Dorothy would have to be holding this. Like... Yeah, so it kind of looks like... Maybe a... Trying to think. The way a sword looks. I think it would look kind of like that, especially if Dorothy was holding it by her right side. Well, perhaps Dorothy would be holding it a bit further out. Then again, when the axe was held up, I think it was a bit smaller. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Oh, actually, I know what the... I think I know what's going on here. Oh, I see. You're just fit subs to their channels. I see, Copper Nicholson. Alright. Well, considering how a sword looks, you don't hold it like that. It would actually be kind of at an angle. You wouldn't have the crossguard in front of you like that. So we'll move the crossguard a bit more like that to make it look like it's being tilted a little bit. Perhaps what would happen if we moved it a smidge further in? Don't hold their sword like that. I'm trying to think, like, Chad, if you're holding like a sword to your side. Yeah, when you're holding a sword to your side, the crossguard would be more so like that. Something. Yeah, it honestly looks. I think it would look kind of like that, wouldn't it? I think. Unless the hilt is kind of the same in all directions. Yeah, I guess we'll start with that. The next part is when Dorothy raises the sword. So when Dorothy raises the axe, it kind of goes towards the back of her head. But considering I'm already noticing how tall the sword is here, might be a bit trickier. We might honestly need to move Dorothy down a space just to give her enough space to work with, because the sword is, I'm already noticing, quite tall. Let's move these out of the way for the time being, so that way we have more space to work with as we continue drawing. Alright. Alright, then let's talk about something else then, Copper Nicholson. I mean, now that it's fall, I imagine things are getting a bit cooler outside. I've noticed, at least where I'm at, like it's finally pleasant to like go outside again, and it isn't like 80 degrees or something. So, what we'll do is we'll move Dorothy further down a bit. What's actually quite interesting about this, chat, is thinking about how melee weapons like this would work. We're comparing like this, essentially a longsword versus an axe. This longsword actually should have slightly more reach than the axe, which I guess makes sense, because the axe really is meant to be more of a tool, not necessarily a weapon. But at the same time, it's most certainly, especially in Souls games, the axe can be quite useful. Alright, let's move everything down one section so we have more space to work with here. That way we're not overlapping with the sword, since it's a bit of a taller weapon. Or it's not taller, a longer weapon. Move that on down here. I missed one. I think I am missing something here. Ah, I see what happened. I think I moved that in the wrong direction. There we go. That's better. Alright, there we go. Now that we've done that, we can finally start moving things around. Well, I mean, I think that should be pretty obvious, Topper Nicholson. If, you know, if the temperature's either too warm or too cold and one's not dressed for it, then of course it's going to be very uncomfortable. So all it means is to make sure that you dress for the weather, that's all. Okay. Now... So for this one, chat, we're going to rotate the sword about 45 degrees, as that's what we do with the axe. And then we'll start removing pixels in order to get just the way we want it. So there is a rotation tool for this, chat, but you'll notice one of the challenges with creating pixel art at an angle. Like, let's say I want to move this for, you know, 45 degrees. Seems like a simple enough task until you realize that doesn't, you know, it doesn't perfectly translate over. You see it looks a little jarring. So whenever I have to rotate something like this, it's helpful to just be prepared to have to essentially adjust things as you go. Now honestly, you know, for a rotation that wasn't half bad. But it's not necessarily perfect either. I think it would look something like, oh, whoops, maybe, no, okay, there we go. Rotate it like so, and now suddenly, it's something that sort of looks like a sword. Move that in like there. And what can be tricky about this is to give it a sense of depth that can be, as it's an even amount of pixels, it's not going to look precisely like a straight line. Unlike if we move things in a bit. So I think that's actually what we'll do. We'll move things in a bit. Make some minor adjustments here and there. Remove some unnecessary outlining. And there we go. We have a rotated sword. We'll actually save that over here so we don't have to do that again if we need a rotated sword. Put it there just like so. I believe the way the axe was held. Yeah, so the axe is held so that's like the back portion of the hand where it would be overlapping. So actually we want the brown part of the hilt to be there. And now we start essentially removing pixels so that it looks like the sword's being held behind Dorothy. So remove a pixel there. Move one there. One there. We just keep removing them until... Yeah, that's a bit too much. So the reason why I'm doing this chat to check is to make sure that if the sword would end up appearing behind Dorothy like this, like here at the corner, I want to leave that in. But the rest of this bit shouldn't be too bad because most of it would be behind Dorothy's head at that point. And there we go. Now it looks like Dorothy's actually holding the sword back behind her head. Though I do wonder, will it look better? I actually think it might look a smidge better. put there, and then it's, I don't know. Maybe bring the hilt down slightly. Okay, that's better. Because now it looks like Dorothy's actually holding something. Although... yeah, when it actually gets to her hand, we don't want that outline. So... move that there. Oh! The songs are jam, chat. Songs are jam. You can see, like, in the bottom right corner here, what's going on there. Okay, I think the best compromise here is going to be that. And then, of course, fixing this portion here. There we go. Now it looks like Dorothy's holding the sword behind her back. And, of course, yeah, given the fact that the sword's going to come out to the right here, actually might need more space there, but we'll see. So the nice thing about this swing forward animation is that the keyframing, you can actually just rotate the weapon. That if it's a melee weapon, you can rotate it essentially horizontally and make some minor adjustments to make it look a little better. So yeah, the sword. Look at that, chat. The sword's so long it's overlapping this next tile. Jeez, we need to make some adjustments here. Honestly, considering pushing Dorothy's animation up just a smidge so that we can... That's the trick to actually find space for this. I mean, we do have space, so it's not like we're completely out of options. So let's move things around again. That way we have some more space to work with. Okay, and if we think about how a sword will be swung forward, it's not going to be perfectly horizontal like this, because that wouldn't be the kind portion. So the crossguard would be tilted slightly. I said the crossguard will be tilted slightly. Oh yeah, I saw that message, and hey, it happens, you know. It was a lot of fun to have him in the community, and I wish him all the best in the future. Now, speaking from experience, I know that at least when I was in college, I definitely... There was a point where, like, I thought I might do some game dev for a little bit, but there was just too much to do at college, so I wasn't able to really keep up with it. And I essentially had to pull back on game dev for the entirety of my time in college. But that ended up being the right decision, because I was able to focus more on my requirements during my degree, and it also led me to explore other clubs. And the end result is I became a much more well-rounded game developer in the long run because of that. Okay, so you want this to be around the bottom of her fist is there. Like that. Probably right up against the hilt. That's where we overlap. Okay, so we actually don't see the hilt, so that actually makes this a bit easier. Delete that. There we go. Nice little sword slashy animation. Although, sword be up here. No, that doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense if it's down there. There we go. Alright, that's one portion of the sword animation. Now we have to do the horizontal bits. And I'm already looking at this, I'm seeing, like, I think we'll need to move things around a bit. In fact, chat, I think we might actually have to make the right and left animations be facing in the opposite direction so we're not overlapping with other Dorothy frames. So let's do that. Let's move. Move the Dorothys over here. I might be asking, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because when the sword's raised above Dorothy's head, be something like that, that'll quite easily overlap with some other animations. So by moving things around a bit, we're actually able to avoid that from happening. Right. Now we repeat the process. Which I don't actually think these things have any arms behind. No, they don't. Okay. Onto the bodies. That's the arms. So much diagonal switching. It's almost like we're playing chess, chat. It's that the chessboard is a lot more colorful. That one always looks like, yeah, it is. Okay. Put that over there. Bada bing, bada bum. Put that on all over there. Then go from there. So, let's put things around. Now Dorothy's been moved about. Let's start putting some. Let's give Dorothy the sword. Oh, this one. So, to be consistent, we want to make sure this is at the same height as the sword before. So that would put it around. This won't be quite the same height, since with a sword you usually hold it towards the hilt. I believe with the axe, It's kind of held. Actually, you know that I don't think we were quite on point with that, were we? Is it a Y of 3? That's a Y of 5. Okay, so it's not exactly the same. So we have some wiggle room there. In terms of how it's held, we want the handle to line up with her outermost hand, so right there. We start deleting things. I actually think we'll want to adjust the hands a smidgen. Unless. Well, I guess we can see how it plays out like that. No, it's completely visible. Okay. Does that look weird? I think we'll actually have to just the hands a smidge. Perspective can be tough, especially with something like this. I guess we could do it like that, make it look like overlapping, kind of like an overlapping hand sort of thing. Actually, I guess it would be this would be more forward, and this would be a bit darker. Alright, so right now, chat, I'm just kind of looking like in this bottom right corner to see which configuration here looks the most like hands holding onto a sword. A bit tricky. Oh. Oh. I think I see the problem here. Think of it how you hold a sword. It's not with hands like interlocked. They're on top of each other. So in fact, In fact, I actually think it should look more like the hands are stacked one on top of the other. So maybe instead of like this, you have more like kind of a cupped hand sort of thing. And maybe shift it up 1 pixel. That. Yeah, something like that. Okay. I think I'm starting to get the picture here. Yeah, that one's better. that definitely looks better. So now it actually looks like Dorothy's holding like that. So really, I think we'll actually have to do some editing to the... I also think the second and third animation for the downward facing is fine, but like the first animation, that doesn't look quite right. That looks like we're holding onto some longer weapon, but we want something that's a bit more streamlined than that. So I reckon... this will look something... like... that. Or perhaps maybe shift it slightly to the right. Maybe I have to take this and see how that would look. Something like that. I don't know, that doesn't look quite right. The only thing I can think of is maybe shift this this hand slightly to the right, and that'll look better. Same with this arm. Okay, then that looks a bit better. A hand kind of like that. Okay. Well, I think that'll do for that side. Now, unless oh, that's also not too bad. No, chat. That or what we had previously. And more of that. But I think honestly, you know, we had previously like this. It's a bit more like Dorothy's actually like wrapping her hands around the hilt there. Then again, when we did move Dorothy's hands in a bit like that, it looks quite a bit better. Especially when we did something like that. These are some of the challenges one runs into when doing pixel art, as you have very little space to work with. You really gotta make every detail count. Alright, I like that too. Dipping, maybe lowering Dorothy's arms a bit to make it look more like she's holding it like a knight would. Oh, kind of like a knight would. And that'll do for the front. Then we can go from there. That way. That way we'll have some more to work with here. Okay, well, we've done a lot of finagling here, but I think this is good. This actually gets us a bit closer to having the arms in a good position for holding the current weapon type. Now, the other great thing about this is because the horizontal ones are symmetrical, it makes moving the weapons about that much simpler. This, for example, can simply go here. And that way we have our second set of animation frames. I believe the way this works on the axe, once diagonal, we want it to look like the hilt is line up with that in the arms. I believe if we do that there, then start hiding things. So a lot of that would be hidden. Always move it up 1 pixel. Hide that. And that. That looks better. So now it actually looks like Dorothy is raising her sword up. Hold on a second, chat, while I finesse this so I can make it look a bit better. Okay, move that around a bit. There's part of me that almost wants to move this arm up a smidge so that way. Oh. Silly me. On the wrong frame. right now I'm just trying to line up essentially the arm and the shoulder. Well, now we're back to square one as I try to find a good position for this arm. Not sure what it is quite about this chat. It just looks weird to me. Yes. Oh. Well, yes, Tabernacles, I believe had there were invitations to that server a while ago. Okay, you know what, chat? That right there, at least when zoomed out, actually kind of works. Fill in that last portion with... Ah! Jet, I think we got it. There we go. Now it looks like hands clasping onto something. Okay. Apologies that took so long, chat, but when making essentially something for the first time like this, definitely takes a bit to get it all lined up. But now that it is, we need to only do that. And flip this one around. And bob bing bob boom, some more attack animations. My desktop rental says it was probably he posted at some points when I was joined like a while ago. That's all. Now then, I think this will be a good spot to take your first break, chat, so don't go anywhere, guys. I will be right back. Alrighty, chat. Welcome back, everybody. Let's pick up where we left off with drawing these animations. So I think with the axe, it's always at a diagonal, so I think we can do this and just flip this vertically. Start with that as our baseline. Additionally, something else I remember with the axe is the... You had the weapons for a second. Yeah, the holding animation is quite similar. So we'll go with that. Yeah, we want to line it up with that and then start hiding things. Yeah, except this, as with the other, I'll make some more adjustments there. No, actually, that might not be that bad. Just looking at how it's currently holding up. Okay, I think that works for the arm animations. So let's pull those out for a second. Flip those around. Grab our sword. Just like so. Alrighty. Just like that, chat, we have moved the sword down. Now we just need to do facing that direction. Oh, you know, with the sword facing that there, I almost wonder if it would be better. do something like that. That might honestly be better. And then change the arm holding stance. Okie doke. Yeah, so a little trick I like to do sometimes, chat. If I'm trying to essentially mirror this, but over here when Dorothy's facing the other way, I'll first copy these arms. So, Control X that, move this to the behind layer, we'll flip it around. Move over to one space to the leg, and just like that, magically, we have it essentially perfectly mirrored at that point. Now we'll just grab the weapons. At least as the positioning in the ballpark. Now in order to fill those gaps, grab that. That. think it'll be somewhere around there, just looking at the preview down there. I need to double check if the ad site's always the same. I think it is, yeah. If I'm maybe a bit quiet, chat, as I am deep in thought trying to make this look correct. Some adjustments. Okay. Well, took a while, chat. I think that'll do for the sword animations. Does definitely take up a decent amount of space. Let's see, it's set to with the longer weapon though. Alright. Now we definitely have the sword to our completed list here. Okay. So we'll do sword is done. I do wonder, chat. Now we basically took our time to close that. Let me close this out as well. Are there any weapons that would be what we'll call low-hanging fruit? And what I mean by that, chat, is essentially a weapon that have a very similar sort of animation. I think in terms of other animations, I think the staff will actually be fairly similar to how the axe swinging animation is. Let's see if we can make that one work. However, we will want to leave a lot of space like we did for the sword. That's probably even more space because it's... So I think that animation, the bow staff is definitely a longer weapon. Let's move on over here. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not copying over the arm animations, is because I'm going to try and use the axe arm animations for the staff. Okay. Grab these. Some adjustments here. Move these over here. Okay. Got our base animations. Let's grab that staff. Oh, whoops. I'm on the wrong frame. That happens sometimes. Yeah. So for anyone who's a game designer who works on pixel art and they're not exactly the best at drawing like human animations, I know I'm not the best at drawing human animations either. One thing I actually like to do when I'm like trying to plan out like how what position arms should be in, for example, I like to essentially take my own body and like hold myself in the position I would think I would be if I were holding one of these items. So for example, for a sword, I might imagine myself again holding the hilt, so like putting my two hands together and moving them along to the side. And by doing essentially trying to stand in the position yourself, you can get a self-image, or you can think in your head about how that would look based off the position of your arms, your legs, your body, everything like that. So while obviously you can't see this because I don't have a camera, when I'm thinking about how to hold like the sword, for example, I would actually like hold out my hands and be like, okay, what's my body position here, to kind of, in order to have some idea of what it should look like. And that way I just need to say that art imitates life in a sense. Alright, so this should be a lot closer to the axe. Essentially that lines up 2 pixels below that. So we'll start over here. Oh yeah. This is a longer weapon for sure. Yeah, that is one of the advantages of the staff, is that it is meant to be quite long, and it is definitely longer than the axe. I believe it does something like that, and then we get a darker shade. Yep. Perfect. Nice little staff, or a nice long staff there. Also realizing that that was the only copy I brought over, so 1 second. Grab that. There we go. Okay. It's aligned in the middle there. Gotcha. Okay. Okie doke. Something like that. So it ought to be something like that. Or that. Yeah, okay, that works. Then we just move that over to the other side. Easy peasy. This one's similar. Yep, so right now, chat, I'm just eliminating pixels here so that it looks like it's aligning correctly with how Dorothy would be holding it. Yep, now it looks like Dorothy's holding that in front of her. There we go. No idea, Copper Nicholson, but I left whatever it is. And if it's not something you're interested in, I would recommend you also leave it in that case. Anyway. Now we got first part of the staff done. That's turning at 90 degrees. Rotates. Well, not 90 degrees, 45 degrees. Oh, wait a minute. Whoops. I accidentally hit the be right back button. My mistake, chat. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, as before, let's move the pixels back into place. So, like that. Hey, Copper Nicholson, bit of a... might seem like a bit of an non sequitur, but have you ever played Minecraft? Just some of this nice piano music can remind me of the music that comes from Minecraft. Be very pleasant, especially if you're doing a creative endeavor. We want to talk about how much of an adventure Minecraft has been. It's or not for some reason. I mean, to be fair, it is. It's very much. It's a sandbox game, so you kind of Minecraft is what you make of it. For me at least, I found like the most fun I had in Minecraft was definitely playing some modded versions of Minecraft where they add like more blocks and stuff like that. I remember having a lot of fun with mods that would like give you like item frames to make like all sorts of complex contraptions and sorting machines and solar panels. All sorts of like technological mods are super fun. I also remember like those mods would give you like essentially a handsaw that you could use to reduce the size of blocks to like less than like half slabs, so you could make like blocks that are like a 16th of a block at times, and that could let you make some really coolly, intricately designed architecture. It's very, very fun. Same thing with messing around with railroads. Definitely a lot of fun to be had with making a bunch of roller coasters to get around any kind of base that you've built. It's 3 pixels out from there. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've definitely been feeling a sense of nostalgia as of late. And it's just like, Minecraft came to mind because it's like, for some reason, like, I'm thinking in my head about the video games I used to play when I was like in late middle school or early high school. And Minecraft was definitely like one of those games for me that I really liked playing a lot back then. Do you ever find yourself feeling nostalgic for like games you played in the past, Albert Nicholson? Because this is definitely like one of those moments where I'm definitely feeling that nostalgia. Especially like, so either when I was in middle school or early high school, one of my friends decided that they wanted to make a little tournaments for some other friends in Minecraft, where we were essentially like play various mini games to essentially compete against each other just for funsies. And they would set up like a whole Minecraft server for us to do this on. But what I decided to do, what I offered to do is, you know, I think it'd be a lot of fun if I could like design a parkour map. So a parkour map in Minecraft is basically, it's a map, think of it like designing a Super Mario Brothers style level where you give a space for players to run around, and it's all about mechanical skill of whether or not they can get past obstacles and such, climbing on ladders, hanging on edges, stuff like that. Well, what I decided to do is I said to my friend, hey, I would, if you'll let me, I will gladly make a parkour map that can be played for this competition, and I'll gladly, I will obviously abstain from playing on the parkour map for the competition, so that way I don't affect the outcome since I made the map. And they were fine with that, and they basically gave me a week. So I basically, over the course of the week, I made a parkour map. But what I decided to do is I actually decided to make the parkour map have a bit of a story to it. And the gimmick of the parkour map was that whoever beats like a section first gets to decide whether to gets to essentially impact the level in some way. Read a message as Shadow the Hedgehog. I'll mention Copper Nicholson that Shadow is not in Sonic Frontiers, but I'll try my best. Alaskan Moose Roast, a simplistic method using minimal spices to guarantee utmost flavor of our prized rib roast. Using a sharp knife poked as many small holes all over for the uncooked roast, toast with garlic cloves. Let the prepped roast sit at room temperature for 1 hour. Meanwhile, preheat oven to 450 degrees for a minimum of 15 minutes. Rub the roast with canola oil and season exterior with freshly ground pepper and salt. How's that? So the gimmick of this parkour map was that whoever beats a room first gets to make the decision. So the way I handled it was a very basic redstone contraption, where the player would get to the end of the map, and then there would be like signs near certain blocks where someone could place a redstone torch that would be inside of a treasure chest at the end of each room. And there would also be basically a written book in there where I would leave notes behind, and I would be all cryptic and try to hint at like what the choices would mean. And because of this, there were actually like branching paths in this parkour challenge map, where if a player beats it first, they could choose to essentially block off the path to get to where that player was and split how the competitors were going. So if I remember, like in the first room, for example, the first player to beat it decided to separate everyone. And what that meant was the redstone contraption activated essentially blocks the path that would have allowed them to go where that player was. So that player is going one path, and then the players behind them, a waterfall opens up that allows them to go to a different room, and now they're in two completely different sections. They eventually intersect later, but it then adds that sense of choice. And I did that throughout the map. It was really, really, really fun to see it all play out with actual players. I think, in fact, that might have been one of the first times I actually had people playing like a level I created that weren't like my immediate family members. And it just felt so satisfying to see others enjoy what I created. And that was just one little anecdote I felt like sharing. So how do we... Okay, so... I'm gonna grab this one over here. So I think we line it up like that. Handle. Yep, just lined up just like that. There we go. Hello, Anthony the Virus. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? Welcome. Oh, actually, Anthony the Virus, I'm glad you dropped by, because I was just talking about basically that Minecraft parkour map that I made way back in I think it was either late middle school or early high school. So like, I think you were actually the one who was running the tournament, like the Minecraft tournament. You just have a little server, and I spent some time making a map for it, making a parkour map. It was a lot of fun for what I remember. My pronouns, just he or him, simple as that. Read a message as a Dark Souls 1 character. Alright, which character? So, Copper Nicholson, there is no Darth Sidious in Dark Souls 1, so which character were you thinking of for Dark Souls 1? Is it Lair or something? Let's put that there, put that there. Oh, I don't have a Star Wars option. Alright, that's my bad. Let's see. Place the roast fat side up on a rack inside a shallow-sided roasting pan. Insert a meat thermometer into the middle of the roast at 450 degrees for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes of high heat cooking, reduce heat to 350 degrees and continue to roast for 1 hour until the meat reaches 135 degrees for medium rare doneness. When 135 degree internal temperature is achieved, remove roast to carving board, tent loosely with parchment and foil, and allow roast to rest for at least 20 minutes to allow energy to redistribute. Well, one of the nice things about the internet antivirus is that despite despite us all being in different parts of the world at this point, we're still able to still reconnect over things like the internet and Twitch, and I'm thankful for that for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have a Star Wars option, do I? I think there's a limit to how many different redeemable character points there can be. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I was reminiscing about the old, about that Minecraft parkour map I made for a tournament where a bunch of friends got together and they just tried to beat it as quickly as possible. I remember, like, towards the end of it, the last section was so difficult and so punishing if one messed up a jump that I believe we ended up actually having to just make a cobblestone floor at a certain point to make sure they couldn't fall too much of a distance when they were getting towards the end. Alrighty. So, what's new in your world, Anthony and the Virus? Everything going well IRL? Alright, so... reverse L shape. Under. Rotate that. There we go. Just like that. Think. In all cases, there was a little bit of a darker portion of the handle there. Think. Okay, not that one, but definitely in these ones. There we go. Now we raise that staff up. Upper Nicholson says, you have a few games you feel nostalgic for, but there's too much old drama and stuff to play those games without. Oh, well, Copper Nicholson, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'd ask that you remind you that this is a more positive stream. Let's see here. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I did ask. All right, fair enough. In the meantime, so you are posting. I did notice you're posting a recipe for some kind of roast, Copper Nicholson. Is that a roast you'd like to make? Alrighty. Rotate that by 90 degrees. Bada bing, bada bum. Easy enough. That there. Release that there. Okay. It's at the top search result for cooking copy pasta. Really? I had no idea about that. Huh. I just never really... I know copy pastas can be fun memes sometimes, but I never really thought to look for one that's about cooking. I do wonder, though, is that like an actual, like, legitimate roast recipe, or is it just kind of a random set of nonsense? Because, well, I don't think I've ever cooked a roast. I have cooked meatloaf before, and done with the right set of ingredients and spices, it can be really, really good. Really should get around to cooking meatloaf again sometime. Yeah, I have no idea. You just posted it because you like hearing you go on random side tangents. But to be fair, Copper Nettle said you had to, decide yourself to search for a cooking copy pasta. So I'm curious, like, what was running through your head when you're like, I don't just want any copy pasta. I want a cooking copy pasta. Like, is there like some food you had in your mind, or were you cooking recently? Okay, so it's around there, in the corner. Yeah. There. Your thought process was, and not say funny cooking recipe midstream. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, well, here's a question for you, Copper Nicholson. Let's say you decided to go shopping for some ingredients to make yourself a nice dinner, like to actually like cook it, not like go like buy anything out of a restaurant or something. What would you make and why? Because for me, like if there was like one thing I could make that I haven't had in a while, I think it would definitely be I have this recipe. My family has this recipe called chicken goubien. It's a really it's a pasta recipe where you use penne pasta, the little cylindrical kind of pasta, with a large cooking pot's worth of diced chicken and a nice mix of savory spices and tomato sauce. It's well, as it's a bit light on tomato sauce, much more heavier on the spices. It just, it's nice, and it's a nice savory, tangy flavor that I've never really been able to find anywhere else. It's just really, really, it's healthy. It tastes amazing. It's very filling. All right. All right. Roasted Brussels sprouts says they're healthy and tasty combined with a roasted duck and berry sauce. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Let's see here. So you like roasted duck and berry sauce, but only if they're cooked in olive oil with a generous amount of garlic flakes. Okay. How come Copper Nicholson? Is that like the key part of the flavor? Like the garlic flakes, like for me, at least with like chicken piccata, for example, I think it's called like the capricots or something, or the apricots. It's like a tiny little green herb that's very, very, very sour. Like that's like the best part of chicken piccata, because you're essentially chicken piccata is chicken with a lemon sauce and those kind of apricots or capricots or something. I forget what the name is. It's like this really tiny sour herb, and like the chicken piccata generally tastes better with more. Ah, I see. So you want the Brussels sprouts to have a nice more olive oil and garlicky flavor. I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Alrighty. That to the left. Let's put that over there. Too much. I believe that's how it is. Hello, Jay. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? There's something so nostalgic in me looking at sprite sheets. I agree. I mean, me looking at sprite sheets, it's nostalgic because I literally grew up with games that looked just like this. I think of Shining Force especially. So definitely makes me feel nostalgic to look at these. And also, I mean, it's just satisfying. Like, granted, you know, we've been moving somewhat slowly tonight because it does take a while to... I'm not the best at drawing human shapes, but it's so satisfying to finally start to see some other weapon animations here, because these weapon animations are stuff for stuff that won't be in the demo. In fact, off stream, I'm in the process of fixing a bunch of bugs so that I can finalize the demo. I already had one full test playthrough, and while there were a bunch of bugs to fix, at the very least, I was actually able to play the full demo from start to finish and get all the collectibles and not be stuck somewhere. So once I fix those bugs and create a Steam page, then the demo will be fully playable, and that'll be a major milestone. Very, very much looking forward to that. Basically, the only other thing to add here... Darker spot there, and there. And bada bing, bada boom, chat. There, the weapon animations were 2 more melee weapons. That being the sword, or I guess this would technically be a longsword, but basically the sword, and now the staff. So we'll say the staff is done. Jay says, you didn't get into gaming till sprite art was losing popularity, but you would cross sprites into animations and PowerPoints. Ah, I see. Okay. So when you say you would crop sprites into animations and PowerPoints, you mean like you'd essentially treat every PowerPoint slide as 1 frame and then like go through it very quickly like a flipbook? Or was there some other way you create animations in sprite sheets? Oh, sorry, in a PowerPoint. Flipbook. Ah, okay, I got you. Yeah, flipbooks are definitely nostalgic as well now. Now that everything's digitized, just actually having like a physical flipbook, that's also a very nostalgic item for me. Because I remember having at least a few of them, a few flipbooks when I was much, much younger. Alright, chat, well now we got 2 animations there. We have ourselves the sword and the staff here. Looking at our nice array of weapons here. What's going to be the next thing we work on? Honestly, I think the shovel would be the next. Well, not the shovel. I'm calling this the spade, but you know, it's a shovel. That'd be a good one to work on. I mean, that one would be quite similar to the axe as well. Just it'd probably share the same kind of animation as the axe does. So right now we have a couple of animations that we have here. Alright, Copper Nicholson, I've noticed you're posting at least references to some negative things a couple times here, Copper Nicholson. If you're having a rough night and you know, if you're just having a rough night and it's not easy to post stuff on in stream chat, you can always remain silent, or you could decide to take a break from the stream tonight. Whatever you need, Copper Nicholson. But anyway, as I was saying, right now we kind of have like a couple sets of animations for how weapons work. So we have kind of like a short range animation, kind of, with Dorothy's fist attack animation. We have like more of like a heavier weapon kind of animation from the axe. And we have a more mid-sized melee weapon kind of animation for like the sword. So like for weapons that have more of like a hilt as opposed to like a long section that can be grabbed onto. Because of that, I think the shovel would be the lowest hanging fruit here. But, or not shovel, the spade. But alright, well, take care of yourself, Copper Nicholson. I hope you're able to relax tonight and able to de-stress a bit and have a good night's sleep. And I hope you have a nice weekend as well. Yeah. So anyway, Jay, so tonight, based off of the votes I saw on the Discord server, we're working on weapon animations. So stuff that this is all stuff for after the demo, but I'm very excited about it. So let's see. Although, I think since we have the axe animations on our mind, we can work on the spade. But after that, I think I would want to shift over to drawing some more like base animations. So like animations for certain weapon types that don't quite fall into this category. For example, spears, or like any kind of thrusting weapon like a spear or a lance. that is something I don't currently have an animation for yet. So, might be worthwhile to work on later in the stream. Oh, what are all the weapons? Well, I can't share all of the weapons, Jay. These are some of the ones that I'm willing to work on stream for. So, there are a handful of weapons that I'm saving, for that I would consider spoilery weapons, and thus won't be showing on stream for the most part. But these, what you see here, are some of the weapons that I would consider non-spoiler weapons. So you have, obviously we already know about fists, rocks, the axe, and tomahawks from the demo. But in terms of what these weapons are, so we have some simpler weapons like the sword, the spear, the scythe, the bow, the crossbow, and the staff. But then we have some more, shall we say, unique weapons that are kind of in line with this game's lore. So over here we have the gravity lance, and this right here is called the Hammer of Storms. So gravity lance is like an earth-based weapon, Hammer of Storms is like a wind-based weapon. I think this weapon's called the Thunder Blast. Some of these weapons have pretty unique names I'll need to double check on. This is a harpoon, so it'd be more like a throwing spear. This is the cyclamore, so kind of thinking of it like a chainsaw. I believe this knife is called the skeleton key, so it's like a very specialized kind of knife. Over here we have the Tara shells, which is like, if you think like I want to say like the ancient times where people would make like these sort of ceramic grenades that would be filled with oil, and you could like ignite them, and they'd be like sort of an impact kind of thing. So it was like kind of like it would have the attack animation would be very similar to throwing a rock, except unlike a rock, which is you're throwing a stone at someone, this one's actually like a little pot filled with oil that's flammable. I believe these are the flame gauntlets. So Stealthy, this team don't ban Shelton. Exactly, no. Flame Gauntlet. So what this does is the Flame Gauntlets have like they have a deployable kind of, when someone pushes their hand forward, it basically sprays a mist, a flammable mist in front of the user, and then when the player pulls it back, so you see that little red portions on the gauntlets, that actually ignites the mist in the air. So essentially it's a more logical way of how you would actually create like one of those like catch flame sort of flame explosions you see in like Elden Ring or something like that. Then here is the spade, so like it's a shovel. That's what a spade is. This over here, all this right here is the Quake Mortar. So one of the things that is not in the demo, but will definitely be in the full game, are weapons that you actually, what I call pinpoint weapons. So the way a pinpoint weapon works, most ranged weapons, you essentially create a projectile that goes on a plane. So let's say I'm throwing a rock. Let's say Dorothy's throwing a rock down this way. So a rock projectile is created, it's moving in a particular direction across the screen. That's not how a pinpoint projectile works. So the way a pinpoint projectile works is, instead of like throwing a projectile across the screen, you are instead selecting a point to be hit by like a very concentrated attack from a distance. So if my cursor was like way over here, there wouldn't be like a projectile flying across the screen like that. Instead, you'd have something launched up into the air off site that then lands after some time where you essentially wherever you designate, kind of like an airstrike. So this, there's pros and cons to a pinpoint style ranged weapon. The pro being that obviously you can damage something that you can't see or that's at a different elevation than you. So that's kind of the advantage of like that style of ranged weapon. But the disadvantage is it's a lot less forgiving if you're off target. Because at least with like a planar projectile weapon, you still have the projectile still moving in a line. So there's a chance it might hit something even if you're a bit off target. But with a pinpoint style weapon, you have to be on target. And if you're not, you just miss. Anyway, next we have the Q-Nice, which is just a play on words of Hunai and ice. So like it's a frosty style Hunai. I think this one's the ice pick, but I might have a different name for it that I'm not remembering. Will it be blocked by walls or fail in a roofed area? Both great questions. So a pinpoint style weapon is not affected by walls and roofs, ceilings would not be applicable. So essentially, just think of it like you're effectively placing a strike in a particular position, regardless of height or regardless of elevation, different distances, or line of sight or lack thereof. I'll also mention that in general, pinpoint style weapons will probably be slower than their planar counterparts, and there's good reason for this. Like, imagine a Quake mortar. If you know how mortars are set, if you've ever seen like how mortars are set up in real life, it's like an artillery position. So essentially, you're placing down your mortar, and then you have to like load it and launch it locked off. Will there be limit? Analyst says it sounds a little OP. Well, the thing is, Jay, you have to remember that the player already has infinite ammo. It just recharges slowly, and to balance out like some of these pinpoint weapons, they might cost more ammo for starters, which means that you might not be able to use it as frequently. They also require precision. Obviously, someone with like a pinpoint weapon could like hang back and like snipe enemies from a distance to try and safely go through an area, but to be honest, you can already do that in a lot of the Souls games with like a bow. And it's, it's possible, but it's very tedious, very slow, and very boring. So that's, in my view, it's kind of like that. Whereas once you get into like a boss battle, then like that advantage of being able to hit an enemy that's at a different elevation, it's not as relevant anymore. It's like you can't just snipe anymore. Now you're actually in the arena against whatever the boss is, and depending on like the type of enemy the boss is, it might not be advantageous at all, or it might help a little bit in some circumstances, but still be leaving your spell. So I have ways to balance it. It's just a different style of weapon. Alrighty. So yeah, in my view, like I don't really see it having any problems with boss fights for a pinpoint style weapon. But as for like exploring the world, if a player really wants to like cheese an area with a pinpoint style weapon, power to them. It'll take a very long time. Yeah, next we have the Electro Whip. So kind of like a longer reached weapon, just like the whips in the Souls games. Here is so this, I believe, is called the Sky Piercer Railgun. Yes, this game has railguns. We already went over the crossbow. Moving a bit over here. This weapon is called the Icicler. Essentially, it's a throwing disc that, as it's moving through the air, it creates these ice spikes around it. So like it starts as like a little metal disc that when it's thrown, it suddenly gets covered in these icy spikes. Over here, this is a unique one, the Landmine. So a very unique twist on a melee weapon. Instead of actually whip, knife, railgun, classic Souls-like weapons. Yes, yes. There's nothing is out of place here at all. Also, landmines, perfectly normal Souls-like weapons. My thought with the landmine is like, you always think of melee weapons as like you get close to the enemy, you whack. Sometimes it's a fast attack, sometimes it's a slow attack. My thought is, what if it's like you don't get that immediate hit, but you could essentially plant a hit if an enemy happens to get closer to it. So that's the premise behind the landmine. Obviously, I have limits to how many landmines could be placed at one time. If you just be constantly placing them, that'd be completely busted. Especially since it's considered a melee weapon as opposed to a ranged weapon. But I still think it would be a nice, unique twist on the whole melee weapon ideas. Then we have another pinpoint weapon. This is called the Frost Ray. So essentially, this is a drone that you designate an area to go to, and then it's I think it shoots a laser blast in that area. Next over here, two more weapons. I believe this is called the Sonic Baton. So it's a baton that deals some wind damage. And last but not least, we had the Incinemortar, which shoots a very powerful fireball at a pinpoint area. Now, these are not all the weapons in the game. In fact, there are some weapons that I will be drawing animations for on stream that I haven't actually drawn the base models for yet. But this should give you a taste of some of the weapon variety that will be in Heartwell. I generally think it's best to eat 3 meals a day if possible, Copper Nicholson. That's just my 2 cents, though. If your doctor's advising you otherwise, follow what your doctor says. But yeah. So, all that being said, I am going to take a short break, chat, and when we come back, we'll work on the spade, and then we'll probably do some kind of thrusting weapon like the spear. So, don't go anywhere, guys. Be right back. Alrighty, chow. Welcome back, everyone. So I think, well, like I said before, we'll start working on the shovel. I am noticing one thing. Alrighty, grab that. Yeah. There we go. Alright, so first things first, chat, since we'll be doing the spade nets, and since the spade uses the same animation as the axe and the bow and the staff, we can actually bring these on over here, like so, and use the staff itself as a go-by. There we go. And since the shovel, I actually think might be the same size or slightly smaller than the axe, we may be able to get away with having the set of animations be a bit more condensed. We'll find out. By chance, this means moving the animations closer together so we have more space to draw things. And again, I think we'll still have plenty of space for most of the weapons here. Anywho, grabbing the spade over here. Now we have over there on the left to go by. Okay, first things first, remove that. Make it darker over there. Then, since the spade would probably be sideways if Dorothy's gonna be, like, trying to swing it, similar to how the axe is. This actually gets moved over here. To give the impression that this is a sharp or pointier weapon. Like that. There's something a bit darker. It's not flat there, it's actually sharper and pointier. look kinda like that. Okay, that's one portion. Bring it over here. All lined up. I think it might be. But then it's actually perfectly lined up. Well, almost perfectly lined up. We have to remove some pixels here and there. But otherwise, yep. Like that. Got that. Okey-doke. I will say it can be fun to kind of see how like we have the different perspectives for the different weapons, like rotating them and such, just because of the different directions Dorothy could face when using these weapons. Definitely adds to the amount of depth that goes into the creating of all this pixel art. That. Move that there. And copy pasta. Alright, there we go. Got some nice rotations on that first animation frame. Onto the second one. This is where we actually need to rotate this. As such. For those wondering why I'm copying this over for the sword, it's just for future reference. It's good to have references for animations for other weapons, especially when they might follow similar animation styles, even if they are different weapons. Yeah, tricky part will be moving this to 45 degrees though, just because it does need to have that pointy end. Rotate 45 degrees. There we go. Alright, it's almost not bad. Make some adjustments. Put that there. this left edge needs to move by 1. I need to make some adjustments. Okay, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Very good. We have our rotated view. Okay. This up here for the time being. Yeah, also this fade being a bit shorter, I just think it makes sense to end up like that. That's the only reason the axe is visible is just because it has that long, sharp end to it. That extends out from the hilt. Just the fades a bit closer to the side there. Okay. And we'll do this section here. Let's move that so you can see Dorothy's hands. Not quite like that though. This one's a copy pasta, so we can move that on over there. This new weapon. Bam, bam, bam. just have a rotated version of this. Will be slightly tilted though. Need a darker shade there. I don't know, chat. The thing is, I imagine if someone were slashing with this, it would come across as like add to add, I don't like that. From a distance, it looks. Does it look right, or does it look a bit weird? This is pencil fine detail. Exactly. So what I'm trying to decide between at this point, chat, is either keeping it like, you know, the default, which has enough detail to say this is shovel, basically. But if we have enough detail to say this is shovel, it kind of looks like you're just smacking with the side of it, which doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry, the flat of it when you'd be smacking with, you know, the sharp edge to it. So if we want to get really accurate, like with perspective, that's what it would look like down there, in the bottom right. but I don't know, it's... Yep, that kind of looks closer to it. What's fascinating about this chat, it's amazing how much just removing the corners here and then making this side a bit darker gives it slightly more perspective. Are you using it for slashing or for bludgeoning? Slashing. So think of this like treat the spade here the same way you would treat an axe. So you don't hit like someone with an axe with like the blunt part of it, you hit it with the sharp part of it, you know? So that's what's supposed to be happening here. So I think right now at least that might be the best compromise, is that shading and removing the corners there, because even though it's technically quite close to what it normally is, just removing those corners makes it feel like it's kind of turned slightly at a jar, I think. Whereas if we try to go a bit more, you know, close to home, it does look kind of a bit wonky. So I think we'll leave it at that. Gives us the nice little illusion of being turned, I think. If I just do that, well, that doesn't really look like we're turning it that much at all. And for comparison's sake, the axe is tilted slightly. I guess we could do something like that. Shovels are horrible for slicing. To that, I would strongly disagree, Jay. Have you ever heard of a multi-tool? So this is like a real thing. Like militaries have this thing called a multi-tool, which is essentially just like a really compact and really resistant shovel with like a serrated edge to it. And you don't hit people with the flat of that, you hit them with the side of it. Also, I think the way the shovel is designed is meant to be kind of more akin to like a partisan kind of short spear. And the partisan type of spear is one you would slash with. This is just more so about perspective at this point, trying to get the perspective right. I should do something like that. I use shovels for beheading snakes. They have a good cutting edge. They just aren't great aerodynamically for swinging with accuracy. True. You know, that's a good point. They weren't exactly made out the best. Use the shovel for beheading the snake, I guess. Okay. Yeah, honestly, real talk. Just removing those corners, it's like an optical illusion sort of thing. Just like if you have it like this, it kind of looks like you just smack them like bluntly with it. Or, I mean, I guess it could be like a nice little bop. But you remove those corners, and suddenly it looks like... not really. I mean, I guess it looks a little bit like it's turned. We'll just leave it at the shadowing and move forward. I feel like I may a bit too into the weeds with this one. Okay. I hit those lengths correct. Wait, what? What is this? I must have accidentally drawn a line there. Whoops. Random line. You'll say it would be funnier to bap things with a shovel and cut them in name. Fair. Fair. I mean, I think for style, I'll still, like when you're standing on the side like this, I'll probably still show it to the side to give it more detail. But yeah, that's a good point. Like the whole idea of bapping with the shovel, you know, just bap. that would be kind of funny. So okay, that's a fair point. Real talk, watch the shovel actually be like a decent weapon. When I actually like balance it all out and give it like, you know, its specials and stuff. Could you imagine, like, I am the Dorothy has become the Shovel Maiden. As opposed to the Shovel Knight. Or I guess the Spade Maiden, since we're referring to it as a spade rather than a shovel. So the spade just sounds a bit more like a weapon as opposed to a shovel. But then again, this is the game where the default ranged weapon is rocks, so, you know... I'm not opposed to this. Some sillier ideas. As long as it makes sense in universe. The shovel is used for the power of bonks. All of the bonks. Alright. Okay. What's it then? Dorothy, Spade Knight, fear her back. Yes. Yes. Oh, the baps. Feel her boops. Well, welcome back, Copper. We're just in the middle of finishing another weapon animation, this being for the spade, or some might call it the shovel. There we go. The irony here is like this ending animation almost looks like Dorothy's about to dig something. Which I find kind of funny, though. It's just more of a bop. Alright, but that be the shovel. Or spade, so spade. And now, chat, I think it's time to go Now I think it's time to move forward with doing a different type of animation. Just like I said, we have like swinging animations for some types of weapons. We really don't have like a thrusting weapon kind of animation yet. So we'll use the spear as our next guinea pig for this. Now, the nice thing about like a thrusting weapon is it really should only have 2 animation frames as opposed to 3. Because like with a swinging weapon like this, you obviously have to raise the weapon and then swing it around. But with like a thrusting weapon, they're meant to be quick, you know? So it's like you're holding it by the side and then you're thrusting forward pretty quickly. I mean, I remember like Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 2 especially, the thrusting weapons have very short animations. Like an S-stock or something like that. Well, the S-stock, I'm referring to things like spears and thrusting swords. So, you know, like, this was a spear, it's a thrusting weapon. You don't slash with that, you poke with it, basically. And I bring this up because, again, we don't, this would definitely be a different style of weapon than what we've currently drawn. Draw the absolutely different animations. So, give Dorothy some space. Essentially, we're going to copy over sets of animations. But one nice thing about, I think with these actually no, the thrusting weapons will still need some distance. Especially like a spear. Yeah, I'm looking at like the length of the spear, for example. It's already longer than the sword is. Essentially, don't be coming straight out, so it is going to need some space for it to maneuver. The 3 weapon types: slash, thrust, and bash. I mean, that's melee weapon types, Jay. And also, you're forgetting a 4th one, that being mine. So, like, this would be a landmine. So it wouldn't do any of those things. You would just place it on the ground and basically set it. Oh yeah, that's a good point. It should be the bonks. We can't forget the bonks. Bonks are important. Especially like when we have this oversized hammer. Become master of bonks. Yeah, with ranged weapons, that's a bit different. The 4th weapon type, just boom. Okay, that's a good point. Just boom. Okay. Anyway. And a bit off topic here. Let's well, not off topic, just getting a bit distracted. That's my own fault. Let's move these down here. Let's see. Think about how a thrusting weapon works. Forgive me for a second, chat. I'm going to just stand up for a second thinking about this. So I'm holding a spear. Okay, this is gonna be like sound like a really dumb question, chat. But like let's say I'm holding a spear in my right hand. When I step forward with like my right leg as well, if I'm like really committing to it, to really get that reach, as opposed to my opposite leg, which would keep me very much forward. I think it would honestly be like the same leg that you're. This is one of those weird situations where like I'm so used to like thinking of weapons as like usually attacked with like the opposite leg of what you'd be using, but here it's like no, I think you would step forward with like the same side that you would. Why am I bringing this up? Because animations. Are you one or two-handed a spear? Also a good point. I think the spear would be one-handed. The lance, on the other hand, the gravity lance, on the other hand, would probably be two-handed. Although, if I wanted to make it easier on myself, I would just treat all thrusting weapons as two-handed weapons. But let me think about this. Because the thing is like a spear in real life can be one-handed or two-handed, depending on the circumstances. If you have like a shield, you obviously one-hand the spear, but there's no shields in this game, so I think chat. I think we'll go with one-handing since, I mean, well, we've already established that Dorothy's fit, but she's not like, she's obviously not like super duper strong. She's just, you know, physically fit. I think someone who's decently physically fit would be able to one-hand a spear. Like, I think the spear is light enough that they'd be able to do that. Plus, you know, if you're two-handing a spear, you can't really get as much reach with it as you could with the one hand. And I think one of the benefits of the spear is that you can, you know, thrust it out a decent distance. So I think we'll go with a one-handed attack for the spear. Same arm as light adds reach. Agreed. I agree. That's why I was trying to think through my head, Jay. Thanks for that. So in this case, since Dorothy would be attacking with her right hand, she would step her right foot, which is, you know, left in our sense, so she's facing downward. So let's grab the rest of things. And we'll leave the arms for last, as the arms will have to be unique. The hair. Okay. Now we have Dorothy just without the arms yet, or without the spear. Let's move our nice little spear over here. Wrong frame. If it's long enough, be sure to use elbow to pull back towards body for stability. So that would be the case with something like a pike or a lance. But I feel like a medium-sized spear like this wouldn't necessarily need that. I get what you're saying. Like, I've actually seen videos of someone, you know, on horseback holding a lance. And, you know, lances are quite long. And with those, they always hold it kind of like they're wrapping their arm around the hilt to maintain some sense of control. But like with a spear like this, I think back to like some old Flash games like Stick War, where the person kind of holds the spear maybe around here and pushes it forward, not really wrapping it around their elbow in any way. Alright, so we got this. Thinking about how this will look. I honestly think the closest animation might be... It might also be the fists. It would kind of be thrusting forward with that. Well, chat. Why don't we start with just default Dorothy standing still? I should have an animation for that somewhere here, right? Somewhere. Possibly. Maybe not. And then copy over necessarily every animation. Just a decent amount. Okay, well. I always have this to work with. let's... I need arms. Hold on. Grab the arms, move them over, see how they do. All right. So why don't I just stay in default arms here? I'm in default arms just so that we can picture this a bit more easily. So if I'm holding a spear. Kind of, I pull it back with my arm. So first holding out that elbow a bit. Then I step forward, my arm's backwards. Okay. Just thinking about how this would look. Dorothy kind of holds her arm out to the right. Probably put some elbow grease in there. Okay, so right. So, would it be more like... Well, actually, I think it might be more like that, because you're kind of holding it backwards at an angle, then thrusting forward. Is Dorothy meant to be familiar with these weapons, or just picking up and doing her best? It's the latter, Jay. She's picking these up and doing her best. So she's not going to be still with any of these. That's quite deliberate. I mean, as an example of that, we go over to the axe here. You notice Dorothy's just kind of holding them with two hands. Someone who's really still with an axe would not need to do that. Like, they'd be able to very confidently one-handed. Dorothy can't. She's not familiar with any of these weapons. So, in this case, you know, her using a spear, she's not exactly going to be the best at it. Just like, okay, I think this is for poking. Poke. This would also be a situation where this arm goes a bit higher to indicate that's doing that, and we divot the shadow to indicate that it's beneath. And then for the follow-up, the arm is, well, for the outside, it'll be whatever the fist animation is. Grab that. Put that down here. Okay, spear thrust, the body should be almost end side on, but I'm not sure if she would do that. Oh, that's the thing. Like, you're right, Jay, because again, Dorothy is not the most skilled. She might not be getting it perfectly. So thus, she's doing her best. So she won't be like, facing to her right if she's thrusting the spear out like that. She'll just be pushing it forward at that point. Yeah, it's really hard to tell how this looks until I actually get the spear in hand. But looking at how far she can like thrust forward with her hand when she goes for an attack like that, like the fisty attack. You'll withhold further weapons on practice that have been used. Fair. Yeah, so that's another unique thing about Heartwell as a game is that the main character is not like a soldier or anything like that. So she's seen all these weapons for the first time. She's not going to be skilled in them. So because of that, she'll be doing stuff that's like, I guess, technically serviceable for the weapon, but not necessarily like what someone who's super practiced would do. So like, we're not going to have like your Dark Souls 1 doing backflips with the curved sword sort of thing. Okay. But I think, honestly, the fist thrusting forward is a good starting point. So we can move that over there. Hold the weapon like that. Of course, we don't truly know how it looks until we get the actual, not fist weapon, the actual spear in Dorothy's hand. Let's okay, so let's grab the spear. I'll flip this downward. Okay, so thinking about how this would look. Probably a couple pixels back. Lined up. It is such a long weapon, though. I guess with perspective, it would look a bit thinner before it's actually thrust out. In terms of like where the weapon would end up, because it is thrusty style weapon. Whoops. No. How far is that? Make any sense. This is meant to be a longer weapon. Yeah, doing the first set of armor animations for any weapon class is definitely I'd say the hardest. But once you have that perspective, though, then it's a bit easier. that would be Dorothy, like, trying to reach out as far as she can. Or decently far. Bring the weapon back. Think about how much that no. Think about how much that translates. Say she's winding backwards. My back 2 pixels. She goes from there to. So I think wherever this is, give it about 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then also and arm forward a bit. That looks weird. Okay, so. Okay. Oh, you were asking. Sorry, I just messaged there, Copper Pencil. You're asking how long will Heartwell be? So again, if you're talking about the demo, like when I was doing my test playthrough, that took me 3 hours to complete. However, I was going very slowly and I was trying to do every single thing. If you were trying to speedrun the Heartwell demo, you could probably beat it in like, you know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes if you're really gunning for it, like moving very, very quickly through it. But if you're actually, you know, playing it at a normal pace, not like trying to rush or anything, not like trying to do any challenge run, you know, easily take a few hours, especially if you're dying a bunch or deciding to grind a bit to level some stuff up, or try to go for every single thing. But as for the full game, I have no idea yet. I would say for the full game, it would probably be in somewhere in the vicinity of the length of time it takes to beat something like Dark Souls 1. That'd be my guess anyway, just as a Souls-like. But I won't really know until I'm there, so to speak. Okay. So chat, at least with this first animation, what do you think? Is this okay? Does this look a little too stretched? This is a spear. So it should have some reach to it. Because once we get like the reach down here, then it'll be a bit easier to plan ahead with some of the other attacks. Oh, speaking of which. That's alright so far. Alright, that's good. Thanks for the feedback. As for this one, let's see if I can get the distance right. I almost want to move the actual stuff a bit further down. Okay. We actually want the arm animation to be kind of like this one. For throwing rocks. over here. Oh, something happened. Yo, Tendar, thanks for dropping by, dude. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the dev stream, where we are drawing some more weapons for the Heartwell game. How you been? How was your stream, dude? We're working on some stuff for after the Heartwell demo. The actual Heartwell demo is only a couple weeks away from release at this point, since I'm just fixing some bugs and creating a Steam page for it. So what you're actually seeing here is stuff that'll be in the full game, but not in the demo. So like some more weapons. We're working on some pixel art here. It's been, all in all, a nice, chill, fun stream. Was good. Play Fire Emblem Three Hopes. Nice. How close are you to beating Fire Emblem Three Hopes, Tendar? I think we'll start. Yeah, that looks sufficiently like Dorothy is about to thrust with the spear. Well, actually, I kind of like it when I move the arm up there, because that really looks like she's pulling back for it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be the default thrusting arm position for thrusting type weapons. You may have to get back to you on that. All right, fair enough, fair enough. I'm sure it's a bit of a longer game. That's fair. I've been, so, like a week or two ago, I actually did like a full test playthrough of the Heartwell demo, and it found a bunch of bugs, which I'm fixing off stream at this point. But at the very least, like I was saying earlier, expect the demo to be ready probably in a couple weeks. So super, super exciting to be working on that. That's cool to be able to show off some of the, at least some of the weapons that'll be in the full game. So we have a whole bunch of them over here. There's a good amount of variety. Some things you'd expect from Souls-likes, like your swords, your spears, and others are a bit more unique. Since Heartwell is very much a sci-fi fantasy sort of game. So we have a mixture of all sorts of sci-fi technology with some of the available weapons. And we're just going bit by bit, basically setting up the default animations that'll be used by some weapons. So, the sword took a while because we had to think about what kind of hand positions Dorothy would have to hold onto the sword. And over here for the spear, this is another one. This is a whole different kind of... The way you would move to attack with a spear is quite different from attacking with like any kind of sword or axe or something like that. Now, thinking about what animation is the closest to Dorothy thrusting the spear forward. I guess it would be something like that. Okay. I guess what I could do is I could move the spear forward however far I think it should move forward. And that, to mirror basis, 1, 2, so how far would it move forward here? So start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, that might even go forward a bit more, because I just, over here, it's more perspective. Let's try that. Now, take Dorothy's arms. That over there. Yeah. Oh, hey, Copper Nicholson. It's a little after 10 at this point. I'll probably be wrapping up soon. But for now, I'm definitely feeling a spark of inspiration here, working on this animation for the spear. So I definitely want to see if I can't finish that before we wrap things up. What about the shoulder there? I need to look at the punching animation again. I think I do something unique for that. That might translate better here. Oh, I do move the shoulder forward. I guess that makes sense. I move it quite forward, in fact. Almost approaches where Dorothy's eyes are. Okay. Yeah, so in fact, I might go somewhere like there. Add a thing there. Maybe even slightly forward. Yeah. Slightly forward. Like that. Then moves forward once, more pixel. There we go. That looks more like it. Alright. Grab that. Alrighty. Over there. A bit around. Nice. Okay. Alright, all that leaves is up here. The other direction for the spear. Sometimes, chat, I like to refer to older animations to get some ideas for new animations. So here I'm looking at how I did things over here. I basically tried to mirror it as though Dorothy's facing upward. That could be a good starting point. We'll grab this. Grab that. Okay. Of course, now we have to flip this vertical. be something like that. Let me grab that. Add some things. Add some things. I think I overestimated there. Okay. Oof. Okay. That little detail there. That, my friends, is almost there. Okay, so move this weapon up a little bit. Then All right, chat. I think. Yeah, that'll do for now. All right, so we got 4 more weapons with their animation strong. I think that's good progress for tonight, especially since we're drawing some animation types for the first time. In this case, the thrusting weapon kind of type, as well as like holding some kind of hilted weapon with 2 hands like a sword. So we're going to wrap things up here. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to stick around for a raid. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll like what you saw. Please consider subscribing on YouTube. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. You can always change your mind later. And it's a great way to show support. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you have an amazing night.